KajuKenbo grow. If it wasn't for these people here, KajuKenbo wouldn't be that big. I'll tell you flat. Okay? That's the way it is. Now I'm writing a book called Been There, Done That. Okay? We're full circle. So I'm giving you this a little bit, okay? Now, in doing so, what has happened is that, so we have, the Tum Pai people have dual lineage, okay? There, and from here, okay? A lot of the techniques that is practiced within the Tum Pai comes from original when we first started. Now, you guys, history on the Tum Pai goes from 83 or 1984 when it was reinstated and came back into the establishing. Because in 1963, and when we begin to put the Chuan Fa did not cut off the Tum Pai. It was always there. It's just that we had changed the name because at that particular time, the Tum Pai that we were practicing utilized more of the southern system. Hardly any kicks, that was high. So it was more on the hand where we had the softer Tai Chi forms and everything else this way. Because in Hawaii, it was basically Choli Fa practitioners and the Hung Up practitioners. So there was no high kicks and all of that. It was only when I came to the United States and then started to study with a person by the name of Cam Ewan, Paul Ng, and Ron Liu, and Wong Jack Man. Wong Jack Man, you guys know him. Theoretically, he was the guy that fought Bruce Lee back in the 1970s, okay? They made a movie of that that they called Dragon, okay? There's a good history on that movie also, okay? Well, when we began to start doing that, the move into the Tum Pai section, let me see, how do I say this? The Tum Pai was southern. It was when I came up to San Francisco and began to start relearning things that I began to start learning a northern style to establish the southern style. Because I knew all the southern, Fu Hawk, Fu Fu, and all this kind of southern styles, Choli Fa and everything. But when I came up to San Francisco and started to study with Wong Jack Man, Paul Ng, and Cam Ewan, and incidentally, Cam Ewan was one of the directors for the Kung Fu series when David Carradine came out. He was the okay. I began to understand now that in order to be good martial artists, we had to fuse the North and the South. So therefore, it was hard for us to call it Tum Pai, because at that particular time, KajuKenbo Tum Pai was geared primarily on the southern part and the Tai Chi part. The northern part was using the high kicks, the flashy things, and everything. So I couldn't call it Tum Pai. So when I told Cedro Emperado about it, he said, okay, we'll still keep the Tum Pai, but what we'll do, we'll emphasize on this one here. And besides, too, during the time that I was learning this one here, I was also competing, winning with the northern forms. Okay? I know that Professor Fred King was talking about when he came up to Denver, Colorado to learn the basic number 6. He couldn't do it, so I just said, okay, forget about that and go back to the very basic one, which was Limpo, okay, which is a very basic move, okay. So there was the beginning from why we went into why the Chuan Fa came into it. Now, why did Chuan Fa diminish? But it didn't diminish, and why did it go into the? This is interesting for you, okay. Why we went into One Hop Kendo is because in 1969, after attempting to help the rest of the senior KajuKenbo people learn the Chuan Fa position. Remember that I was at the bottom of the totem pole. I was faced with the likes of Charles Gaylord, Al Reyes, Tony Ramos, and Joel Uno, which was all my seniors. They were 3 or 4 years older than I am, you see? And they were more established, and they were solid within the KajuKenbo Kempo karate part. They had resistance. They resisted what I was ordered to do. And Corrado told me, go up to the mainland, help these guys, teach them the soft style, because that is the future. that is what was coming because he already foresee what was coming. He saw that it was going to be, well, they had the Kempo karate. He saw that the Kung Fu was going to come. He saw that the Eskrima part was going to come. He saw that the Jiu-Jitsu part was going to come back. He saw all this. He said, get him into the soft style. I said, it's fine. I go up there. There was only one person that actually came down to study with me after he taught his class at 10:30 at night. Tony Ramos. He wouldn't let the other instructors know. Okay? He wouldn't do that. Al Reyes, who was also the senior, sent his son's wife to come and study with me to make it indirect. Not he went around this way. Okay? So, and then, interestingly, we had the KAA, which excuse me, I just know my first names right now, okay? When Sifu Gabe was the president at the time, right? Okay? And then we had the introduction of the KajuKenbo patch. Let me see yours. You got the KajuKenbo patch? The emblem? Come on, please. Okay. Okay, tomorrow. Let's take all this, only this emblem right here, because it's really interesting. It has a lot of meaning behind it. How did it come about that led to all the other different patches? How? Okay? Well, the thing which is interesting, and during that time in the 1960s, remember we were in the stage of the Cold War. Okay? And there were three competing patches that came out. One was this patch here, which was the original patch of my school, called the School of Chinese Kempo in Hayward, California. Second one came from Joe Halbuno, and I can't remember what the patch was. The third was from Tony Ramos. Tony Ramos was on the top of it. He kind of sort of like worn out. But the idea is that when you make any patches, you must have a symbol. What does it represent? So, Tony Ramos' patch got voted out, and my school patch is the official patch of all nationally. And from that, okay? Here's the difference, okay? And the patch, it represents a lot of things. It became the patch of the International, of the KajuKenbo Association of America, and it is flourished. It has a lot of symbolic things over here. Some of you guys should know what you're doing. The reason why Tony's patch did not override ours was because he had a karate figure on top of a world. Okay? And we were Kempo stylists. The color uniform was white. The world was red. That's Cold War. We was joining the Cold War. So what do we have